This is the way.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Chris, aka RumblePack92, and you are watching This is the Waypoint, the one and only Star Wars discussion show right here on the Shared Screens Podcast Network. Today, we are talking about The Mandalorian, Season 3, Episode 6, Guns for Hire. Joining me, two of my absolute favorite co-hosts in the world, Some Other Josh and Jim Tasty. What's good, boys?
Doing hot. You know, take those bingo cards, those Mando season 3 bingo cards we all have.
Throw them out the window.
Our theories. Rip them up, dude. Rip them up. Just out the window with this shit, dude.
Get rid of them.
Any week where we get to talk about Count Dooku, it's a good week. So. Dude,
and joining us once again, friend of the show, aaronroots427.
I'm back. Somehow Aaron Roots has returned.
It's good to see you, homie. Thank you for joining us again.
Absolutely. I'm always glad to hang out with my boys and talk Star Wars. There's nothing better.
Hey, absolutely. Speaking of talking Star Wars, that's exactly what we're going to do. Before we jump into it, if you're a fan of the show, if you like what we do, or if you're new here and want to check more of us out, please subscribe, hit the little bell notification, all the usual things that every YouTuber has to say, because please, we want to do more of this and like potentially forever, and your support means very, very much. Also, please keep an eye out, because this weekend, as of recording and uploading, in fact, when this goes up, Star Wars Celebration will have already began. We're about to have tons of news. We're going to get plenty of announcements. There's going to be so much cool stuff.
We better get an Ahsoka trailer, for God's sake.
Oh, yeah.
We are. They're just not going to stream it, so we're going to watch it on TikTok.
Yeah, it won't be for any of us. It'll only be for like the 30 people they let into the panel.
Yep. Oh, I'll watch it with the back of some dude's head on TikTok.
Absolutely.
He's going to watch it in the back of the car a couple times and then just go.
Oh, God damn.
But please keep an eye out here again, because we will be doing a news roundup on Star Wars Celebration as well. Because there's bound to be some good stuff, boys. It's a good time to be a Star Wars fan. But that's all future things. Today we're talking about The Mandalorian. And I want to know, Aaron, Brett, Josh, how did you feel about episode 6 of season 3 of The Mandalorian? Aaron, why don't you take it away, man? How'd you feel about this episode?
Man, what a weird fucking episode. And I say that the fondest way possible. It reminded me of when you're a kid and you're home on a Saturday afternoon and you turn on Fox and something like Xena is on and you're like, what the hell is this? This is so weird, but it's so cool at the same time. I love the weird like iRobot subplot. Freaking Jack Black and Liz over there. What the fuck is going on? Yeah, like, it's so crazy, man. It's so weird, but I had a great time.
Hell yeah, I love to hear that, man. I'm glad I'm just doing it. It's definitely like the most George Lucas shit I've seen in years, right? Like, it's like, hey, we're just gonna go to some weird planet. We're gonna have some weird things going on. We're gonna have some world building for something that you just never would have expected, and you're just gonna enjoy it because it's fun and strange. Josh,
and there's battle droids.
And there's battle droids. There's battle droids and B2 commandos and RX droids and a droid bar. It's amazing.
So sick.
The droid bar was so cool.
So sick, dude.
Josh, hit me with it, man. How'd you feel?
Man, if you told me this episode was written by Dick Wolf, Law and Order, I absolutely would have believed you. Like this is one hell of a Law and Order episode. We got Din and Bo playing good cop, bad cop. We're trying to figure out what's going on with these robots, with the iRobot subplot, like Aaron said, and we go to like forensics, and we're like, what's going on with this? With
Christopher Lloyd's there.
Body. Christopher Lloyd's there. We're like in the morgue. What's going on? Can we get a diagnostic? A robot just turns on him and starts blasting. It's
the droid morgue was incredible.
Super battle droids over it.
Yeah, weird as fuck. We got Christopher Lloyd, Lizzo, Jack Black, and Jack Black is just living my dream, married to Lizzo, a rich, peaceful politician. Like, goddamn, dude. But yeah.
Also, fun fact: those aren't the only cameos that we got. There's some smaller cameos to where The droid bartender is voiced by Bryce Dallas Howard's husband.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
And the Moncal prince with the off the wall like love story between the Quarren and the Moncal. He's also voiced and played by Tom Holland's brother.
Holy shit.
Like, I was like, that voice sounds like I should know
It's
who
his
that
legal
is.
name, by the way.
But
It's his legal
Tom
name.
Holland's brother, yeah. He's Tom Holland's brother Holland. Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah.
Brett, how'd you feel, man? How'd this episode land for you?
I liked parts of it, but this season and this episode is just I'm really confused. Like, I don't want to be too like down in the dumps because they could crush it in this last 2 episodes and the whole show could be awesome as a whole. But yeah, it just doesn't feel coherent right now to me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they've regressed on like pretty much every major like plot development that Din went through in season 2. Yeah, I don't know. It's just very confusing. I don't know. We can get into it more, but
yeah. So I'm gonna stop you right there because I am gonna touch on that here in a second. But thank you for saying that stuff. We'll get there in a second. But
I hope I eat my words because I would love for them to be like, and this all had like a reason, but I don't know. It just feels so, like
it's weird
without a ship without a rudder right now. I don't know. I don't know what they're going for. I don't know if any behind the scenes stuff played a role with like what's her face, Cara Dune, and why they did the Book of Boba Fett stuff. Like
who Josh will fight. He's on the record.
I just want to say I listened to last week's episode today when I was at work, and when Josh was talking about like beating the shit out of her, I took a drink of water, I spat it on my desk. It wasn't a lot, but I was like,
It was wild, dude. Oh my god!
And it wasn't
We
the
were
first
one last week,
it was
man.
the second time because I was like, oh shit, like I wasn't expecting it.
Again,
Oh my god!
for posterity, Josh will fight her. He'll he'll
100%.
square up, bro.
All hell.
My
I
homie's
want to play contest.
We'll just fucking jump her like in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in the scene where they're just kicking that dude.
But I liked, it was awesome to see that droid bar. It felt very reminiscent of the iconic scene from A New Hope, but like in reverse a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool to see like the B1 battle droids and like awesome CGI. I've always had this idea they should totally remaster the prequels with like new CGI. I would.
I agree.
That.
I think that'd be really sick.
I think it could be cool.
All 2 of the prequels.
There's 3 of them. What?
I only recognize 2 of them.
I just want Revenge of the Sith and the Clone Wars art style. That's it. That's all.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be really fun. But also,
I want Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith style. Reshoot all of it live action. That'd be tight, dude.
So yeah, I think my general impressions are kind of along the same lines as you guys. The episode itself, I really enjoyed it. It's structured almost like it's like we were watching an episode of a Knights of the Old Republic show. They go to a new planet because they're trying to solve an overall goal. They get there. You immediately get a quest that's got something related to do with the planet itself and not necessarily why you're there. And in order to further your own goal, first you have to go do this other thing. I was like, this is like, it's like watching a video game in the best ways, which is so funny how cyclical it is because, I mean, obviously the way that video game stories were structured was based heavily off of movies and TV. And so that I find that really, really interesting. The planet was really cool. Jack Black and Lizzo just being there and crushing it was hilarious. And I loved it. I personally don't have a problem with celebrity cameos in Star Wars.
Jack Black did great, and he's a prolific actor. And I'm not trying to harp on Lizzo because she's not an actor. There was definitely a couple of moments where I'm like, she's like looking at the teleprompter, like right there. Like, it felt very.
Oh sure.
But I mean,
I have a low bar.
I would absolutely take that chance to do that.
Yeah. See, like for me,
there have been worse performances in Star Wars too. So I like Lizzo didn't bother me.
Yeah. For me, like. I mean, I love Jack Black. I will always love Jack Black. For me, like he was kind of doing that thing where he was like doing like golden retriever energy where he's like, oh, I'm just in love with my wife, like kind of being like a little over the top for me, which I kind of wish he would have kept it a little more serious, but whatever. I doubt they'll be back. It's fine. I had a friend of mine say, man, I wish someone would tell Star Wars that it's not Saturday Night Live. And I'm like, honestly though, like I would take them over Pelimoto, honestly.
Yeah.
Like
What?
I would, yeah. I don't know, man. She's grown on me a lot since she first showed up, but I don't know, man.
Her
Sometimes
stuff in
she
season
says, I'm
one.
like, eh.
Her stuff in season one was really rough, but I think she got better.
Yeah.
Somebody said this, that like the last scene when they Night Grogu and stuff was like a Doritos commercial or something like that.
Oh my
Like
God. Disrespect.
I was like,
To me, they are the antithesis of
Andor.
Is it Moff Gideon? Andor, yeah, that couple, right? Where it's like her and her douchebag, like mega, Trump, like husband, right? This is the polar opposite, you know?
Oh, Mon
Like-
Mothma,
like-
yeah.
Yeah, Mon Mothma. Yeah,
Mon
this
Mothma, and
just
then the one guy who has the raddest child in the galaxy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, this is just the polar
one
opposite.
half of
These
the
guys-
parents of the coolest kid ever.
Yeah, these guys love each other. They're happy. They are like not on the verge of just filing for divorce.
They're
Like,
both in the episode just so Lizzo can hold baby Yoda.
yeah.
100%. She dressed up as Grogu at like some event last year,
Yep.
and so it's like I
I think it's
guarantee
just
you,
Halloween, yeah.
she was like,
I think it
"Please,
might have been
just
Halloween.
let me just do this role so I can hold the child."
I have a question for you guys because I've been thinking about this since the episode came out, and I don't know what the answer is, and I feel like you could come up with many different answers. But if I ask you, what is this show about? Like, what would you say? Like in one sentence, what is this show about? Because
The show overall or just this season?
overall,
So let me here before we get into it. That is like very 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 similar to the question that I kind of have prepped. And I think we can have. We can,
Yeah.
No, you're fine. We can just kind of roll it all into one conversation here, which is
Dude, I got it.
I want to know how you guys feel about the direction of this season and like how it's continuing. It's like, does it feel aimless to you guys? Do you feel like some of the decisions that they made, especially with like bringing Grogu back clearly much earlier in Book of Boba Fett, has felt justified? Like, because for me, I think now that we're almost done with the season, there's 2 more episodes. And the plot, I'm okay with the slow moving plot, but there's been almost none of it. And there's not an end goal. There's not really a villain. I have a strong feeling that Gideon's showing up next season, and that this is like the Age of Ultron of Mandalorian, where we're setting things up for something that's coming later, right?
Bad taste.
See, I would say Age of Ultron's better than this, but
I disagree.
The disrespect, dude.
Disagree.
I would say
Shorter.
I don't know. I like the show as a whole. I'd say it's about being a Mandalorian and walking the creed, and about following the way. And this season particularly is more just about rejoining the group, and then now that we're back in the group and we're redeemed, it's about bringing the group together, right? And we're slowly starting to get there, right? We definitely went on a side quest to then have a great scene at the end. Not super happy that Din gave up the Darksaber so early, but like you could always tell he didn't want it. He tried to give it up like in season 2, so it's like that's pretty consistent with his character. But we're now trying to reunite all the Mandalorians now that we're redeemed, and so I think that's the path, and I see it. There's a little bit extra on there. There's a little bit.
Sort of like the theme of it is almost just kind of like redefining what Mandalorian means.
Yeah, I think so, and especially with like last week's episode for sure.
Yeah, I think, Brett, to answer your question, what is this show about? It's Walker, Texas Ranger in space. That's basically it. Season 1 was, protect the kid. Season 2 was, have the kid become a Jedi, I guess. And season 3 is just, let's go to Mandalore so I can redeem myself. Also, the kid is back. If you didn't watch the extra show, then you didn't know how that happened. But The kid's back. I need to redeem myself. Oh, hey, Mandalore's actually not cursed like we thought. Well, let me redeem myself. Oh shit, there's a mythosaur. Bo-Katan's scheming to probably try and rule Mandalore again. Now she's trying to get all the Mandalorians back together, and they better get Sabine and Boba Fett. That's all I'm saying.
100%.
I don't think Boba
if you're
considers
gonna get
himself
all
a
of them, get all of
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Like,
Also,
I think he says as much in season 2 that he's not a Mandalorian.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But also
Jango
like
kinda was, but yeah.
totally unrelated. But that season or that episode earlier this season where they're like going to save Paz Vizsla's kid, and they're all like, oh hey, we're gonna eat our food, and they all like fuck off and go like everywhere else to eat. I would love this is gonna sound like the nerdiest thing in the world, but stay with me. I would love to just do like a Mandalorian weekend where like a bunch of friends print Mandalorian helmets and just we have to keep them on all weekend. That'd be a good bachelor party, honestly.
Hell yeah. Why stop at helmets? Full armor.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Head to toe.
Just for
Strippers come
whatever
out,
people can afford. They can, if they have less armor, they can just say, well, I'm a foundling actually. So
The strippers are Twi'leks.
I'm in.
No, I'd say
You had me at
strippers come
strippers.
out, bikinis and Mandalorian
Josh said
helmets,
strippers.
and that's it.
And one of
That's
them,
it,
one
yeah.
of them is that 6-boobed lady dancing in Jabba's palace from freaking Return of the Jedi. Dude, that'd be a good Halloween costume. I might do that. That'd be hilarious. Anyways, ignore me. Go ahead.
But yeah, I do think that it's like, despite that, I do think there is a theme of sort of like kind of like redefining what being a Mandalorian is and that sort of thing. It's at this point it doesn't feel like there's necessarily a goal anymore, right? Because everything that was kind of set up in season 2 is basically dealt with now. I think it was very apparent that Grogu was supposed to be gone this season, and they walked that back in Book of Boba Fett because he is just kind of there every episode, outside of like the bit in episode 2 where he goes to go get Bo-Katan to save Din. Like they just leave him with someone else and they fuck off and go do other things. I was like, he was not originally written to be here. I think they were setting that up
And
for him to show up.
that's one of my biggest complaints right now is that like I would have loved if Grogu went away at the end of season 2, and then you can maybe do a thing in Book of Boba Fett where like you see him doing something, I don't know, but I think he should have stayed away, made everybody really be like, where the fuck is the puppet? We want the fucking puppet. Give us the puppet.
I would like to see the baby.
Bingo. And so then just have him be gone, make us miss him, have Mando miss him, have him do his whole redemption arc thing, then have Grogu come back and have him want Mando to take the helmet off. And he's like, sorry, kid, I can't do it. I've been redeemed in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. But yeah, it's just, and it's like you were saying, Chris, it's just like, hey, here's the kid. Watch him for me. I'm going to go do some dangerous shit real fast. Yeah. And then you see him be cute, and it's just, they're using him to be cute, and that's it, really. So except when he went and got Bo-Katan, but
I can definitely understand, like almost like from a business standpoint, like if it was like Disney being like, hey, we got to have the child here. But I think there's a concession to be made. I mean, it's like we absolutely could have had cutbacks to just see him being trained with Luke, like we did in the Book of Boba Fett, like throughout the season. So that way, when the return happens, you still have the moment.
Yeah.
Just
swap sort of in babies. Swap babies like every season and have it be Mando Daddy Daycare.
But like I mean, you also have
baby, a little Rogue baby.
But I mean, the big thing going into the season was Din being like, "Hey, I got to get redeemed." 2 episodes in, done, easy, just like that. Yeah, it's like already did it. It was barely an inconvenience.
The pacing is off. It feels like to me, the focus. Like honestly, this has been more. It's not necessarily bad, but just the shift and everything is unexpected. With like the show focusing more on Bo-Katan than Din, honestly. We're not getting any POVs of like what Din's thinking and wanting. He's like going back on his like droid racism and stuff like that. I'm like,
yeah,
it's just kind of odd. It's just
we talked about that in episode 2, I believe, right? Him being fine with R5 and getting rid of that cool fucking cockpit for Grogu there. And then R5 snitched on him, and he's just back. He's like, "Fuck droids."
Yeah,
man,
he
these
said, "You know
fucking
what?
Snitch.
Piece of
Was
shit.
right all
I'm gonna
along."
kick every single
I
fucking
opened my heart to a
walking on
droid and he
this.
burned me.
And then he's just knocking him
Yeah.
over like
He's
that
just like,
Boston
"Fuck
Dynamics
you,
robot,
R5."
dude.
Literally,
Lift-
literally.
Lifting
R5
his
made
head
the
off
right
and throwing
decision,
trash
though.
in there.
He's still snitch.
No,
man.
R5's a
Snitch
fucking
is
snitch, bro. Yeah, absolutely.
Shit,
was
courage.
Snitches turns on Darksaber, gets stitches.
In which
And so,
I just have to know because Book of Boba Fett and now the flashback we got this season to Order 66. That was our first time ever seeing live action 501st clone trooper armor, right?
Yep.
Like they actually had to go ahead and build the armor for the first time ever.
Looks so much better.
Are you guys
so
getting
good.
that sense with the droids? Because these like droids look like they're actually built.
HCG.
They are. Oh
Yeah.
shit! 'Cause
Yeah,
they
I think
honestly
it's
could
just
have fooled
CG
me.
looks better now. Because
Shit,
back when you
I-
got to remember, back when Phantom Menace was like being made, like CG had come a long way since things like Jurassic Park, but it still wasn't perfect,
Right.
especially with as much CG as George was putting into all the movies. He's like, yeah, just
Mhm.
throw up a blue screen.
And I
we'll
mean,
figure it
yeah,
out
and
after."
it's all stuff that's like the lighting's all like broad daylight
Yeah.
as opposed to like the tricks you can get
Right.
away with like the T-Rex at night and stuff. Yeah, it's just a very
Yeah.
a very different thing. But yeah, it's confirmed that the droids
It
in
looked
this are
real
CG.
to me. It looked real to me. Damn, they pulled that off perfectly then.
Yeah, they did it really
Dude, I
well.
love-
The
Yeah.
battle droids looked very good, and I was so happy
Love
to hear
that
that
scene where
classic
Mando's
voice
just
back.
kicking the super battle droids over, and then the one finally makes a break for it, and that one battle droid just goes, "You should have left him alone." Like he's all
He's so
sad.
good.
I'm
He's
like,
like,
"Oh, man,
he's like, why'd you do that?
no, why'd you do that?"
Can you also imagine how much more difficult Republic Commando would have been if the super battle droids could just charge at you like that? Oh my
Oh
god.
fuck!
Right.
No, thank you.
But yeah,
man.
and then I mean at the end of the episode, like I liked the moment of them sort of like elder wanding the Darksaber. It's like, well, technically, she has earned it, and especially because I think that made sense for Din's character with him. He's like, I don't want it. It's like,
He's
well,
like,
whatever,
"I
give
don't
it
need this."
give it
I
to
thought the
her.
whole
But
thing with
that's
Elder
basically everything now. Like wrapped up, like what's left to do? Where's the sort of it feels like a how'd you describe it, Brett? Like a ship without a rudder. Like I can't tell where this is going.
Yeah. Well, the whole Elder Wand thing, wouldn't it be because people were talking about that for years? Like, isn't it Palpatine's technically then, or whatever? Because like he kicked Maul's ass in the Clone Wars or something like that. So yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
but he's
We
know.
don't
dead.
know. We don't know what happened in between them.
He's dead.
Well,
It technically belongs to Luke Skywalker then,
What happens if you
Yeah.
come back?
or no,
though?
Anakin. Except he's dead too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know, but yeah, it's just like we don't really get to understand why he doesn't want the Darksaber. Like, I mean, he just doesn't want responsibility, but like why?
He burned
Like,
his leg that one time.
Yeah.
This shit's
I don't
too
know.
hard. I don't want to do this anymore. It's like when
He's
a kid
like,
gives
it's
up
like
playing
it's
guitar.
me and it sucks, dude. I don't want this anymore.
This thing
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
sucks.
So yeah, I'm in this weird spot to where it's like I've been enjoying the individual episodes for what they are, but compared to seasons 1 and 2, it does feel a little disconnected in ways.
I'd be interested to see how this season plays upon rewatch, especially like
Mhm.
years down the line. Like I know there's that quote of like, "Oh, it could go on forever," and it's definitely like feeling that way, right? But I like once we've ended the show and we've done, God, I don't even know, 7 seasons, 8 seasons, right? Seeing how this
25
season
seasons.
fits. 25 seasons, seeing how this season fits into a bigger story down the line, I'd be interested because like, yeah, right now I definitely I understand the criticism of feeling aimless, but like now that we're redeemed, I'm definitely like, okay, well we're now just trying to get Mandalorians.
Sure, and I am on board with the sort of like episodic Saturday morning cartoon kind of vibe with it. Like I think that's fine, and maybe yeah, in retrospect, like this could again Age of Ultron itself to where you look back at Age of Ultron now and you're like, wow, this really set up the rest of the MCU like up until like Endgame, right? Like this just could be one of those things. It's like, hey, we got to take a few minutes to be a little weird and move some pieces around, and then
Right.
and then we're gonna blow the doors off.
Yeah, maybe
Plus-
they're doing an Age of Ultron thing right now, where like you know how like in Age of Ultron Cap kind of moved the hammer, and then in Endgame he caught it. That's gonna be Grogu in like the last episode of the Mandalorian.
He's gonna grab the dark saber.
Yeah.
He's gonna pull it out of Bo-Katan.
And like similar to like what Brett was saying too, like this season definitely feels like it's been struck by like a lot of the behind the scenes stuff.
Mhm.
For sure, in terms of like having to fold in like Rangers of the New Republic into this show and stuff like that. And I think like now that we've dealt with that drama and we've worked it into season 3, I hope that the groundwork is like fresh to understand what we're doing going forward. And honestly, if this weekend at Star Wars Celebration and they were like Bo-Katan show, well, fucking sign me up, dude. Like 100%. I've been loving her starting to get the focus a little bit more, right? And so if she had her own show and we could get back to focusing on Din in a season 4, then fucking give it to me.
Yeah, my issue is what I kind of said before, was like season 1 and 2 had direct like plots, like, hey, here's our end goal, and it was serialized, and there's fun little side adventures, but we knew where we were going, and we knew Din was the focus. And then now we don't know where we're going, and Din's not really the focus. And I don't know if I with these kind of shows, I don't like look at every pre-release like stuff, not even leaks, but just like any like. So I'm not like, we're like, hey, Din's not going to be really the main focus of this. Like,
I mean,
they just need to, they just need to communicate. I wish they would have communicated that, or like done a better job of executing. Again, it's not even done yet, so. I could just
last 2 episodes could be just off the wall.
What are the last 2 episodes going to be though? It's like, the TIE fighters you saw, that's Thrawn's or that's Gideon's. It's like, okay, why did we spend 20 minutes with Jack Black talking about direct democracy and they're still elected even though they were royal? It's like I don't know. It's interesting.
I understand your criticism, Brett. Like I totally get where you're coming from. I think the loose like main line thing, like through line for this season, is we have to rebuild Mandalore. That's basic, and that's so vague. But I with people talking about maybe doing a Bo-Katan show, and they did a Boba Fett show. I kind of liked the idea of the Mandalorian doesn't necessarily just focus on Din Djarin. It could just like there could be a season of the Mandalorian that's Boba Fett, or there's a season of the Mandalorian that is Bo-Katan. Like it could have been the Mandalorian as like a people instead of a person.
Well, and Favreau has also come out to say that the Book of Boba Fett is a chapter in the story of the Mandalorian, right? Like it's kind of off to the side. It's not technically a separate show. It's all tied in the same thing. But I do think that they're weird about messaging that.
I wish they would have communicated that for this season. And then if they do that, like it's going to feel tonally imbalanced with 2 seasons of Din. And then however it's like, and then why didn't they do their own show for Bo? If it's like, the Mandalorian is about Din.
Yeah.
And Grogu. So it's just
Sir Grogu.
Yeah. Of the Regency or whatever.
And he's a knight.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like, I just wish they would have communicated that to us, or like, just feels unbalanced a little bit.
Yeah. And if so all else fails, with it being kind of like a little disjointed and stuff, all else fails, we'll just refer to it as the gas leak year, like Community season 4.
Exactly. And I mean, overall, I still do also want to emphasize that it's like, I've kind of got these criticisms about sort of like the direction that the season takes, but I'm also still having a lot of fun with every episode, right? Like, I don't think they're like poorly directed or made or anything. I just think there's kind of some weird decisions. And like Josh said, I mean, there was a lot of turmoil behind the scenes with Rangers of the New Republic, and I think there was clearly like something going on with the plan for Grogu, and so maybe this is just kind of like, it feels like a little missed up because they've had to adjust course essentially while they were making the thing, and this could just kind of be like the time that they need to sort of like fix things and get back on track, and then sort of like realign the pieces again just a little later down the road. But like I said, I don't think this is a bad show. There are lots of bad shows out there that I do not like and enjoy, and this is not one of them.
100%.
Yeah, well, I think that about wraps up our time today here, boys. Thank you guys so much for coming on as always. And Aaron, dude, you're welcome back anytime, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Chris, you mentioned before we started recording, you had a question that you wanted to pose to us. Do you still want to do that or no?
I rolled that into Brett's thing about the direction of the show.
Gotcha.
That's kind of that's kind of where I was going. I wanted to have like that sort of discussion mainly for this one because this one was weird, and there's not like a whole lot to dissect except the fact that they have a droid morgue on this planet, and that's hilarious to me. He rolls out the box and it's a B2 battle droid, and I was like, I fucking love this show, dude. Are you kidding me?
Oh my god, that was so weird.
It was so good.
So Josh mentioned Dick Wolf earlier, and that sounds like a Mandalorian name. Just straight up.
Absolutely,
it's
We have Axe Woves.
Axe Woves. And then I think what is it? Dave Filoni's character's name's Trapper Wolf. So he has a son named Dick Wolf.
What?
There you go.
Dick
what's
Wolf?
Like the rule? What's the rule for like Mandalorian duels? Because Bo-Katan's had like 3 or 4 goes at this, and she just keeps coming back and challenging the lead.
I love that she comes up. She's like, Axe, me and you, 1v1 me right now, and he's just like, again. I love it. Well, hey, this is the Waypoint. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, please like, comment, subscribe. How do you guys feel about this episode? Like, how awesome is that droid bar? And then how do you feel about the season as a whole? And how do you feel about the show moving forward? Please let us know down in the comments below, or hit us up on Twitter @shared_screens. And we will see you again at the next Waypoint.